Sit up. Give Doll a drink. Oh, Nay, very nice. Kiss Doll. Oh, no. Kiss Doll.
It usually starts at birth or within the first 30 months of life. Autistic individuals are extremely isolated. They rarely interact with others and lack many social and self-help skills. Autistic children rarely play appropriately with toys. They use objects for simple sensory feedback or self-stimulation. Repetitive behaviors, such as body rocking, are also self-stimulatory. Some children, like Beth, have extreme tantrums and may injure themselves. Others, like John, may have to be restrained to prevent self-injury.
Valentine, look at me. Valentine. Valentine.
Like Valentine, they are extremely inattentive and do not seek the approval of others.
Point to white. No, point. Valentine. 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 Point. Valentine.
What's my name? What's her name? What's your name? No.
While half of all autistic children are mute,
What's your name?
most of the rest just repeat what others say,
Pamela.
behavior known as echolalia.
Oh, Ricky.
Ricky!
Good. What's your name? Ricky.
Autistic children have a number of behavioral deficits and excesses. They lack the use of language, emotional attachment to other people, attention to the environment, toy play, peer play, and self-help skills such as toileting or dressing. Their excesses consist of self-stimulation, tantrums, and aggression. Almost all attempts to teach and treat them have failed. More than 95% need custodial care the rest of their lives, a great loss to themselves, their families, and society. Autism is probably biological in origin, but the specific cause or causes remain unclear. The behavioral treatment approach for autistic children was influenced by the research of psychologist B.F. Skinner. His book, The Behavior of Organisms, published in 1938, scientifically demonstrated that consequences had powerful and predictable influences on behavior. Skinner called the process operant conditioning. This process has broad application to human behaviors. A consequence or event which strengthens behavior is called a reinforcer. Examples include food or drink, touching, hugging or kissing, praise, a favorite activity. Under operant conditioning, when a behavior is followed by a reinforcer, there is an increased probability the behavior will recur in a similar setting. When a behavior is not followed by a reinforcer, it will decrease or not recur. Lisa, 3 years old, has been autistic from birth. She doesn't speak. She doesn't play with toys. She is content to arrange and rearrange a set of favorite objects. The teacher, Ivar Lovas, will reinforce the behavior of sitting using food, paired with praise. Lisa tantrums when anyone attempts to teach her.
Sit. Good girl.
Lisa's tantrums are ignored or not reinforced, so they should decrease or extinguish.
Sit down. Sit. Good. Sit. Now, Lisa,
The teacher prompts Lisa with a shoulder tap.
sit down. Sit down. Good. Champion, yes. Good sitting. Oh, that's good sitting. Yeah. Good girl. Okay. Sit down. Sit down. Good. Very good.
Lisa now sits without a prompt and without tantruming.
Okay. Sit down. Good, Lisa. Good. Good. That's good, Lisa. Oh, nice. Oh, good looking. How good looking, Lisa. That's good looking. Yes, good looking. Yeah. Oh, so good. Okay. Okay. Sit down.
Instructions are simple.
Sitting. Look at me. Yeah, look at me. That's good looking. Oh, that's good looking. What do you know? Yeah. Good. Sit down. Good. That's good, Lisa. Good sitting. Yeah. That was good. Yeah. That was good. That's good.
The teacher discovers that kissing is a reinforcer for Lisa.
Sit down. Good sitting. Ah, there. Here, some more. Yeah. Good sitting. Very good sitting. Yeah. That's my darling. My darling.
Now that Lisa has learned to sit attentively, she will be able to learn other behaviors from the teacher.
Okay. All right. Okay.
As often happens, after the teacher began to ignore Lisa's tantrums, she increased the intensity of her tantrum. This predictable occurrence burst and continued to ignore the tantrum. These data show that in a period of 18 minutes, the teacher reduced Lisa's tantrums by ignoring or not reinforcing them. Though the tantrums are likely to recur, they will be easier to extinguish on future occasions. In operant conditioning, new behaviors, such as sitting, are developed by giving short and simple instructions and by reinforcing the behaviors immediately after they occur. As Lisa's teacher reinforced her sitting with food and praise, Lisa gradually learned to respond to the request to sit without needing a prompt. In 1964, psychologist Ivar Lovaas started a long-term research and treatment program at UCLA. Pamela and Ricky were among the first autistic children to receive intensive behavioral interventions.
What is this?
What is it?
Cookie?
Good.
Cookie?
At 1 month into treatment, teaching differential labeling. Initially, food was one of the few effective reinforcers.
What is this?
Cookie.
Good girl. Betty?
Daddy.
That's good, Ricky. Who is this?
Daddy.
That's right, Ricky. What is Betty doing? Betty is blowing. That's
At 2
good.
months, teaching
What is
verbs.
Betty doing?
Undergraduate and graduate students at UCLA volunteered as therapists as an aspect of their own training.
Boy, Ricky. Who is this, Ricky?
Daddy.
That's good. And what is Betty doing?
Daddy is blowing.
Good boy, Ricky. Good boy.
Ricky, put the block on top of the dresser.
At 4 months, teaching prepositions.
No, Ricky, put it on top of the dresser.
Ricky?
That's inside. Put it on top. Good boy. Where's the block, Ricky?
The block is on top of the dresser.
Good boy.
What are you wearing?
A blue sweater.
No.
At 6 months, teaching pronouns.
What is this?
Social rewards have replaced food
What are you
reinforcers.
wearing?
I want a shirt.
That's right. Very good. Very good. Good girl, Pam. Ricky, what's your name?
Ricky.
That's right.
How are you feeling?
At 8
Don't ask me
months,
what I asked
teaching
you.
conversational
What's
speech.
your name? No, I want you to say that. Say, what's your name?
Ricky.
No. Say what?
What's
Say your. Say name.
No!
That's right. Now say it all together.
What's your name?
Joan.
Is this a closet?
Yes.
Is this a dresser?
Yes.
Is this a dresser?
Yes, that's
Is this a floor?
Yes.
At 12 months, building spontaneity.
Closet.
That's
What do they wear on their feet?
Swim fins.
That's right. What do they wear on their backs?
Aqualung.
Good. What's
At
inside the
14
aqua?
months, teaching storytelling.
Good. Where do they go? Hey, look at me. Where do they go?
Go swimming in the lake.
That's right. What do they do underneath the lake? Hey,
Skin divers.
that's right. What do they look for?
Look for buried treasures
That's right.
underneath the ocean.
Right.
How much do you love me?
Tons and tons.
Tons and tons, Pamela.
Clickety clack, clickety clack, clickety clack. Goes the railroad track.
That's right. What else does the train say?
Toot toot.
At ages 7 and 8, Pam and Ricky had made significant improvements, but still had language and social skill deficits. Unfortunately, after 14 months, they had to be discharged to a state hospital so that the treatments could be offered to other children. The staff at the state hospital did not have the resources to follow through with the behavioral treatment. Sadly, both Pam and Ricky lost most of their gains. In recent years, however, the state hospital has developed behavioral treatment programs, and Pam and Ricky have both benefited. Pam has remained in the state hospital. She is able to carry out some basic household tasks, though she has lost much of her appropriate speech.
Stir it up. Good work. You're doing great.
Without alternative behaviors, Pamela regresses. Ricky lives in a small teaching home in the community. Ed, his therapist at UCLA 20 years ago, comes to visit.
Hi. Hello.
How are you?
I'm
Can I come in?
Yeah.
Give me a hug. It's good to see you. You look real good, Rick.
Yeah.
What have you been doing? Let's sit down and talk a while.
Ricky has lost most of his language skills and spontaneity.
So how old are you now?
I'm 28 years old.
Uh-huh. We used to go to a little restaurant.
We used to go to our little restaurant.
Unlike Pamela, Ricky has developed some recreational skills, such as rug hooking. With assistance, Ricky participates in the community.
What would you like, Bert?
A cheeseburger with tomato and
Did you get it?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay, speak up, please.
I want a cheeseburger
Okay,
with
wait.
tomato and onions and lettuce and Thousand Island dressing.
Could you speak up, please?
And Thousand Island dressing.
Single?
A single. Old fashioned bacon.
With
Cheese,
Nice
lettuce, tomato, onion, and
Yeah.
thousand island dressing?
Yeah.
Fries with your order?
French fries with ketchup.
Anything to
And
drink
a
with
small Coke.
Pepsi all right?
Pepsi.
506.
Okay.
In 1964, before treatment was started, neither Pam nor Ricky had any meaningful language. During 14 months of treatment, their language increased appreciably. Then, during 3 years of no behavioral treatment in a state hospital between 1965 and 1968, they lost most of their language. They were treated for a second time in 1968 and regained much of their language, only to lose it once more during 2 more years in the state hospital. Similar changes also occurred in play, social interaction, and self-stimulation. The alternation between treatment and no treatment was not planned, but it produced an experimental design called ABA reversal. The data showed that the children's improvements were the result of the treatment they received, rather than some other variable. Thus, in 1969, these data led to the following conclusions. On the positive side, behavioral treatment helped increase appropriate and complex behaviors, such as language. Also, it reduced serious problem behaviors, such as self-injury. And the longer the treatment lasted, the more the improvement. But the data also highlighted 2 major weaknesses. First, the children never caught up to other children their age in language and other behaviors. And second, the children regressed when treatment was removed. In 1970, major steps were taken to improve the treatment.
Well, Nixon's pretty fussy. Well, Nixon's pretty fussy today.
First, the treatment was given to very young children, less than 4 years of age, because data showed they did better than older children. Secondly, the treatment was moved away from the clinic into the child's home and community, and the parents became part of the treatment team.
Very good.
Thirdly, the children were treated more intensively and for longer periods of time.
That's nice, Nathan. Ball?
Huh?
Yeah, that's nice.
A scientific study was done with 2 groups of children to examine the effects of this treatment. In the experimental group of 19 children, each child received an average of 40 hours treatment per week. In the control group, each child received an average of 10 hours treatment per week. To ensure that the children in both groups were autistic, independent clinicians made the diagnoses. A large number of pre-treatment measures were obtained to compare the experimental and control groups at the beginning of treatment. The children in the 2 groups were practically the same age at diagnosis, 32 and 34 months. The children were close in age when they started treatment. Both groups had about the same IQ, falling in the mentally retarded range of intellectual functioning. Both groups had more boys than girls, since autism is 4 times more common among boys. Their parents had comparable socioeconomic status. Age at onset of walking was similar. About half of the children had no language. A similar number of children in each group actively rejected their parents' attempts to show them affection. Most of the children did not have basic self-help skills, such as appropriate toileting. Over 80% of the children in both groups were extremely inattentive. Over 85% of the children had severe tantrums. More than half of the children did not play with toys. About 90% of the children exhibited excessive self-stimulation, such as rocking, spinning, and twirling. None of the children played with peers. To summarize, these objective measures show that the 2 groups were quite similar to each other before treatment was started. Therefore, differences after treatment could then be attributed to the intensive treatment provided for the experimental group. The new treatment emphasized building a variety of specific behaviors.
Look at me. Good, very nice.
To start, the children were taught to look at the therapist.
Look at me. Good looking, that's right. Good girl.
You got it. Use both hands. All the way. Flip the back.
There
They were taught how to dress themselves, teaching appropriate eating, teaching games and play. UCLA students again worked as therapists,
Do this.
teaching imitation of gestures,
Boy. Chris. Do this. That's real nice, Chris.
Look. Aww.
teaching imitation of speech,
Aww.
Oh.
Good girl. That's nice. Touch doll.
teaching identification of objects,
Touch doll. Good. Touch doll. Good. Touch cookie. Very good.
What are these, Jason?
Keys.
No. This.
teaching assertiveness,
Keys.
Are you sure? Maybe it's a refrigerator.
Is it keys?
Are you sure? Maybe it's a mouse.
Maybe it's keys.
You're right. Must be keys.
Andrew gave it to me.
Finally, extensive efforts were made to help the children become part of regular preschool classes, where they could develop friendships.
Can you do that whole time? Good. Really nice.
A few more minutes. Because you guys are going bananas.
5 children illustrate the range of outcomes after treatment, from very limited improvement to language delayed to normal functioning. Chris stopped talking at 18 months. At pre-treatment, he would not respond to his name. He had no toy play, no peer play, spun tops and knobs and sifted sand. He had frequent temper tantrums when taken out to markets and restaurants. If angry, Chris would bite his mother or brother. This is Chris, 11 years after treatment was begun.
Hi, Chris. Come get in your book. I'd like a hug. I'm happy to see you. I'm happy to see you. Can I have a hug? All right. A kiss?
The table.
Chris's mother.
We've been working on setting the table for 2 years now. We started very, very simply, and now Chris can set all 4 place settings on his own. My goal is that I will not be near him at all, but be in another room, and Chris will set the table on his own.
All right. Very good. You did a good job. That's good. Oh, cool.
Pretty good. I got an A- on my social studies.
You did. Good. Yeah. Chris, do you want juice? Al. Do it better, juice. What do you want?
Language skills are very difficult for Chris, so we pair up the signed word and the spoken word together, and this seems to help.
Chris, you want a sandwich?
It makes it easier for Chris to express himself, and it makes it easier for us to understand him.
Want a cookie? Show me a cookie. Excellent. Take one. Give the plate to Eric. Thank you, Chris. Chris, look. Very good. Chris, give me cereal. Good. Look. Vacuum. That's
Good
right.
job, Chris.
Pizza.
Over the last 10 years, Chris has learned, about 200 words. We chose these words because we felt they were important for him to use in his everyday living.
Pizza. Look. Very good.
Chris is quite easily distracted, and I then have to use a very loud startle and a no as a way of getting his attention back to me.
Look at me. Pizza. No faces. Look.
We've been working very hard over the last 10 years, some of which has been a struggle. And we hope that by the age of 20, that Chris would be employed within the community as a busboy or a chef's helper or perhaps in a gardening job. He could live in our home or he could live in a community group home. It's still open.
Because Chris progressed particularly slowly, he continued to receive treatment. During a 10-year period, Chris received over 15,000 hours of one-to-one instruction. However, Chris's IQ remained unchanged. This showed that time in treatment alone may not be sufficient to improve intellectual functioning.
Good, you do it.
But Chris's adaptive and self-help skills improved, so that now he is actively involved in family life. Without the continued treatment, Chris most likely would have been institutionalized. These scenes are from Chris's family's home movies. Val was echolalic, was very aggressive, had no toy play or peer play, and rejected affection. He excessively flapped his hands while gazing at them, smelled objects, and paced in patterns across the floor. After treatment, Val's IQ rose 23 points, from 34 to 57, and he improved sufficiently to be placed in classes with language or mildly delayed children.
Did you have fun in school today, Val?
I jump in a board.
Did you jump from the board?
I know how to swim in the deep.
Really?
Yes.
Who teach you how to swim?
Pop.
Going well.
Alice.
His language, even I know is pretty good now, but I know that he could improve more in that, and he needs to improve more.
How about his play with other kids?
That too. But I think that's something that people will notice as much as his language, because when he talks or they talk to him, he has hard time to get the words together.
Val, you want to tell me what you did last weekend?
Yeah.
What?
The last weekend I went to the party. I danced. And I danced with my friends.
What's your friend's name?
What's my friend's name? He is Mabel.
What else did you do at the party?
I just see my food.
What kind of food?
Potato chips, Tito. And I dance and I go home.
That's it? That's all you did all weekend? Did you watch cartoons?
In morning.
In the morning? What kind of cartoons?
And tomorrow. It's Woody Woodpecker. You like Woody Woodpecker?
I love Woody Woodpecker. Is that your favorite cartoon? How about He-Man?
Yeah. What about you?
I like He-Man too.
What about She-Ra?
She-Ra, I like She-Ra. You want to know what I did over the weekend?
What?
Why don't you ask me?
What did you have your weekend?
What did you do over the
What
weekend?
did you do the weekend?
I went to Disneyland.
And what did you ride?
What did I ride? Let's see, I went on Pirates of the Caribbean and the Matterhorn.
I didn't ride Matterhorn.
You didn't? Why?
Because I'm scared.
It's too big?
No, too scary.
Too fast?
No, too scary.
Too scary, huh? What do you think the future looks like for Val as far as his ability to finish school or start working, things like that?
I don't know about school, if he'll be able to finish school, but I have the feeling he'll probably be able to work. For the kind of work my husband does, he doesn't need to know a lot of things. The only thing he needs to know how to do, math, because he has to know how to charge.
Okay.
But, to set up tile, I think it's not too hard. And I think he'll be able to do that.
Come on. There you go. Got you. All right, my turn.
Ian had no words or communicative gestures. He had severe tantrums. He ignored and looked past people. He spun objects, flapped his hands, laughed excessively and inappropriately, and assumed fixed and rigid body positions for prolonged periods of time. With intensive treatment, Ian's IQ at follow-up rose more than 40 points to the normal range.
Well, when we found out about his problems, we were told that he would probably be institutionalized at some point in his life, and we couldn't accept that, really. And it was grueling, really. I mean, because it was, I would say about 5 years that the therapy, 2 years very intensive therapy, another 3 of consistent, hard therapy, and you could see him daily changing, and that's what kept you going.
Here, 5 years after treatment, Ian is indistinguishable from his friends. His identity will not be disclosed.
How do you like 6th grade so far? It's pretty cool. It's a lot better than 5th grade. I know. Kindergarten was boring. I know. We had to just do little pace, little things like that.
The boys were asked to talk about their lives.
It's good, but it's fun. I know. The work isn't that tough. I know. It's just that sometimes the homework. Yeah. One thing good about it is older kids can't pick on you because there aren't any. I know. What do you want to do when you grow up? There's a lot of things. I'm going to be a jet pilot, jet designer, or an architect. I'm going to be an actor and a keyboard player and a surfer. Yeah, that'd be cool to be a keyboard player, especially you since you're so good at the keyboard. Yeah. You should play guitar if you wanted. Yeah, maybe I should. Yeah, you play good at that too, especially shaking a baby. Do you think college is going to be fun? Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. Yeah. That's where you usually find your girls that you marry. When are you going to get married? I don't know, but I don't want to get married right now, even if I was able to, because it doesn't seem fun right now, you know. Probably after college. That would be a cool time. Yeah. About 24, I'd say. That's year after I move out. That's gonna be me and all those parties too at college. Oh yeah. Get to drink beer and everything. Sneak the booze. What college do you want to go to? UCLA.
The results of the treatment were evaluated. 9 of the children, or 47% from the experimental group, made sufficient gains to be enrolled in regular first-grade classes. They advanced to higher grades within the regular public school system and remain indistinguishable from their classmates. Ian was part of this group. However, no child in the minimal treatment or control group achieved regular school placement. Chris was one of 2, or 10% of the experimental group of intensively treated children who were placed in classes for retarded and autistic children. The majority from the control group were placed in these classes. The results from the control group were consistent with the poor outcome for autistic children reported by previous investigators. An equal number of children from each group, including Val, improved sufficiently to be placed in classes for children who were language delayed. Changes in IQ test scores from before to after treatment show that children in the control group lost 5 points. In contrast, the experimental group children gained an average of 20 IQ points, and the 9 children who achieved normal functioning in the experimental group gained an average of 37 points with treatment. The normal functioning children were tested again when they averaged 13 years of age. Their IQ gains had been maintained, and they tested in the normal range on a number of other standardized measures of emotional, social, and intellectual functioning. Here are other children from this group. Before treatment, Scott was so unresponsive to others that his parents feared he was blind and deaf. He didn't speak. He didn't play with toys or peers. His self-stimulatory behaviors included lining objects in neat rows and body rocking for long periods of time. With intensive treatment, Scott's IQ rose to the normal range. This is Scott, 10 years after treatment.
Well, looks like you're about ready for a haircut. No, you don't think so?
Sure, compared to the way David looks.
Well, yeah, I know, but look how David looks.
Hey,
You
you
don't
may not
look
be
too
the
good,
best
huh?
looking person
Huh?
in the world, but he has nice hair, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, he does have nice hair. Rest of the girls would like it an awful lot better.
It took it 6 months to get the way it is now.
Well, yeah, I know, but you're young. You're going to live another 6 months. I would think, don't you?
Yeah.
Hmm?
You ain't taking me back to the butcher over
How
there.
come?
either. Not the butcher.
Now you don't want to go see the butcher. I think,
Almost cut my ears off.
well, you know, he needs some practice. Probably we better go back. Sure.
Nah.
Back when your dad was a kid. That's the way they used to wear the
I
hair,
saw
huh?
a picture of you when you were my age.
How do you like your haircut? Just trim?
No, I did it, what you call above the ears and above the collar, so cut it up to about that.
Okay, you want it blocked, or you can have it square.
Square.
He joined the search and rescue with a friend of his, and his friend, his father, is a paramedic down there. And next week is his first meeting, and they require him to have short hair.
Oh, thank you.
Now he's starting to play football for high school, so he's pretty interested in that.
Have you thought about electronics as a field you might be interested in?
Yeah, I've thought about it. I might take a couple of classes at City or State, because I might want to play football for Long Beach State. I don't think I'm probably going to be good enough to play for a big university.
So far, what do you like most about high school?
I don't know, playing football for it and looking at the girls.
Would you like to see the Mercer?
I ain't got no hair.
You haven't got any hair.
Niels had no toy play or peer play, acted as if blind and deaf, and rejected adult attention. He stared at rotating fans, paced, spun himself, and lined objects. His mother was particularly concerned that he did not speak or interact with any other children. Following intensive treatment, Niels' IQ rose from the retarded to the superior range.
He was nonverbal, or didn't talk. He just sort of lived in his own little world. He'd sit out in the sandbox and sift sand. Well, the treatment started out pretty structured. We'd spent all our time going into UCLA for the therapy session. And it was the really structured behavior modification kinds of things that you've heard about. And as he started talking, they moved the sessions out to my house, or our house, and we had most of them out there. And when he started the preschool, which was maybe about 5 months into the therapy, they went there and worked with him. There were several of the students that went to the daycare center, and when we completed treatment, well, we moved from Los Angeles back to my hometown, and he started kindergarten there, and no one has ever known he's had any problem. Like in school, he's never gone to special ed or anything. But one day he got in trouble with the teacher for talking too much, and he told her that you better be glad I talk too much because people have worked awful hard to get me to talk. He is going to gifted and talented classes here in school, and they considered him gifted in areas of mathematics and science.
Niels is one of these 3 boys. 9 years after treatment, at age 14, he is indistinguishable from other boys his age.
Are there any things that bother you, that you worry about?
I guess not making very good grades and not being able to get into a place I want to go after I graduate from high school. And if I miss an assignment, what's going to happen the next day? And I can't do nothing about it.
I don't know.
That's about it, I think.
I'm gonna give you some money for giving my sister the Trans Am.
Well, when I graduate from high school, the reason I want to go to the Air Force Academy is my dad served in the Air Force for over 20 years, and I think I have a pretty good chance of getting in.
Oh, come on. You're ugly and your mama dresses you funny.
Do any of your friends know you were autistic when you were very young?
Brett does. But I told him about a year and a half ago. And we used to sit outside during the spring and summer and just sit out there at night with the candle lit. Just sit out there and talk every once in a while. And I told him that, and he said, really? I think he said, really? That's interesting.
Come on. Joe. Joe. Come on, Brett. Joe. Oh, come on. That was worthless.
Okay. Okay, Brett. Meet your fate. Every autistic kid needs special therapy, no matter how bad it is, because it can be cured over time. So it's important for most of them for all of them to get therapy. I think I'm a more outgoing person, because of the therapy. And if I didn't have the therapy, I'd be clammed up, just complete clam, hiding in a corner all my life.
Efforts are underway to replicate this treatment at other centers. Whether done by volunteer or paid therapists, the treatment is far less costly than a lifetime of supervised living. It is vital to learn how to be more successful with children like Chris, who progressed slowly. Still, this is the first scientific study with long-term follow-up that has found such substantial and enduring improvements in a group of autistic children.
Rock doll. Rock doll. Oh, good. Get doll a drink. Oh, good boy. That's nice. Hey, pat doll. No, listen. Pat doll. Pat doll. Good boy.